What is going on, you guys? I'm going to be talking to you today a little bit about X-Wing 2.0 and some of the concerns over misprints, errata. Was this whole thing kind of rushed? I kind of think maybe it was. And I also want to talk to you about some of the things that I found in the early Gen Con purchases, misprints, errors, there's all of that. Hopefully things that, you'll be aware of when this stuff comes out. So hopefully it doesn't catch you too off guard. And then there's some common misconceptions about like the quick build cards and things like that. So before I get too further, I want to throw a big congratulations out to Robert Calkins, Patreon winner, won a bunch of promos. Just make sure if you haven't already, send me a message on Patreon with your contact information, and I will get you, get your shipping information, get those out to you as well. There is going to be some more. I'm going to be starting a new giveaway on Patreon probably next week, and one of the things that will be included is this Gen Con Darth Vader that is double-sided to also have 2.0 on it. So pretty cool stuff there. We'll put a couple more goodies in there as well, but you can look for that on Patreon. And as far as regular giveaways, I think everything has already been announced. So just for those of you who are asking about my normal giveaways on YouTube, I typically announce those towards the end of my videos. So the last one, for example, hasn't been claimed yet, and if it doesn't get claimed, it will just roll over into the next giveaway. So you may have to check those out. That's kind of one of the reasons I announce them at the end of the videos, to encourage people to watch. The more you watch, the more, it's like a win-win situation, because it helps promote my channel, and that's kind of one of the things that factors into everything. So just letting you guys know, make sure you watch. You can even skip towards the end of the video if you need to, but it's better for me the longer duration. It's one of the things that YouTube factors into their algorithm, so that's kind of why I do announce those at the end of the video. Just letting you guys know that. I mean, I've talked about this before, but since I do have a lot of new subscribers now, I'm just letting everybody know. Giveaway winners are typically announced at the end of the video, at least for YouTube video giveaways. That being said, we're probably going to start a new giveaway in a few days, so stay tuned for that as well. And just a general giveaway. It might be another Amazon gift card for a solo Blu-ray or something of your choice. And there will be a Super Star Destroyer giveaway coming, but that is probably going to wait until it's closer to its general release. I don't want to have a giveaway running for a whole year, because it might be like 6 months, or 9 months before we even get the thing. That's a little bit too long of a period for a giveaway, and it wouldn't feel right. So now that we got all of that stuff out of the way, let's talk about some of these big 2.0 problems. I'm going to talk about some of the smaller ones first, and we'll kind of jump into the bigger ones later. First thing, just things that I'm noticing so far in the scum conversion kit. There was one of the fire spray dials. Like, you have all of your dials, you have the fronts and backs to all of your dials. But you need they're labeled, and they have an abbreviation for stuff. And one of the fire spray dials, and this funny thing is there's 2 fire spray dials in there, but one of the fire spray dials actually had a misprint on it, and so it was a little bit tricky to, they're kind of in order, so it seemed like this was supposed to go to the fire spray, like these 2 were supposed to go together, but one of them was misprinted, and so instead of like FSP, it was like FAP or something like that, and it wasn't FAP. But gosh, never mind. But the point is, there was a misprint, so you had to actually look kind of close at the actual maneuvers and stuff, and make sure that you had the right one. So look extra close on yours. It could be one of those things where I had an early production model, and the second wave, the ones that are going to come out for general release, have these things fixed. That's entirely possible, but I'm giving you a warning ahead of time. Check your fire spray dials in the conversion kits. The next thing is that conversion kits in general don't have shield tokens, which is just kind of strange. Like, they have just about everything else. I don't know why they didn't come with shield tokens. I have plenty of the new shield tokens, though, because I got one of everything. So, like the X-Wing blister, the fire spray blister, the Lando's Falcon blister, the core set, you've got shield tokens and all those other things. And I understand, yes, you're going to need to get a core set to play anyway, but it's just kind of, and yeah, you can just use a shield token from 1.0, but considering that shield tokens now are a flip instead of a discard, you just flip them over to show that they've been exhausted. it kind of would make more sense to be using all of the new 2.0 components. They're all of a streamlined design. They're of a similar design. And I like the idea of flipping things over. It makes it easier to keep track of what's been spent and what hasn't been spent. And it really works well for charge and force as well. So I think shield tokens just fit into that naturally. It helps you make sure that you're not going to accidentally have more shields or less shields than is necessary, especially in between tournament rounds and things like that. And it'll work into those boards as people, a lot of people have those customized player boards and they have all their ship stuff on here. You can just keep your tokens there instead of having to pick stuff up and throw it back into a bag. So I was kind of, I don't know if it was short-sighted that they didn't give you shield tokens or if it's just that slight little, incentive to buy more of the actual product. There's definitely incentive out there, to kind of push you guys to buy the actual blister packs instead of just the conversion kits. Not giving you shield tokens though, at least a couple. Like, I understand a conversion kit isn't meant for you to be able to field your entire fleet all at once or of that particular faction. There's probably the intent that you're not going to run more than 4 ships at any given time, because I think it was something like only 4 focus tokens in each one, which is fine. How many are you really going to need in any given list? And I didn't do an actual count, but it wasn't a whole lot of extra tokens, but it was a little bit. And that's fine. We're going to end up eventually with like a stack this big. And for now, you can always use the 1.0 stuff, but it would have been nice if there was shield tokens in there. So conversion kit stuff, that's what we had for that. Wave 14 had a lot of problems. First off, I've talked about this already, swarm tactics. This is swarm tactics from Wave 14. And it's got this Imperial symbol on there. There's no reason for it to have that symbol. First off, it's a generic upgrade. It's not restricted to the Empire. So there's no reason for it to have an Imperial symbol on there. Not only that, all the rest of X-Wing 2.0 doesn't use symbols. They use the word. It will say Imperial only. The only time there's a symbol is if it requires a specific upgrade, like you have to have a red barrel roll for expert handling to turn it into a white barrel roll or something like that. Or small ship only or Imperial. They're all in text. So it's definitely an inconsistency between X-Wing Wave 14's 2.0 content to all the rest of the 2.0 content. Definitely inconsistencies there. We had another really big one, and this one is something you can just say, okay, well, I get that maybe they can just decide for an upgrade to, the fact that everything is app driven, they can kind of control the way some of that is going to work. But like advanced sensors, like this is the actual advanced sensors that you're going to get, and basically the key here is that can I get it to focus on this? Yeah, basically, well, I'll just read it to you. After you reveal your dial, you may perform an action. If you do, you cannot perform another action during your activation. In other words, then this basically deals with the linked actions and stuff like that. So you can't start, doing linking and double and triple actions and all that stuff before you move. Whereas in X-Wing Wave 14, which you should probably just throw away, are all these other advanced sensors that are worded differently in the same spirit of the card, but it would allow for a whole bunch of stuff. This one says after you basically this is the Wave 14 one. After you reveal your dial, you may perform an action. If you do, skip your perform action step. Well, that doesn't mean that you can't perform. So this one would allow you to do linked actions and all kinds of other stuff. Now, that's a huge inconsistency, especially like maybe not for a casual player who just plays once in a while at home in their living room or something like that. But for anybody who plays competitively or tournament or wants to metagame and try to look at, even a casual player might just as easily use those linked actions since they're built into the cards. So that's like a really big change. And that really tells me that the X-Wing Wave 14 2.0 stuff was probably, kind of rushed. So that's kind of unfortunate. And I'm really hoping that moving forward, especially with the Clone Wars stuff coming, that they kind of slow down. I'm okay if they want to take their time with it. I want better quality stuff. I play enough of their other games like Armada that is really, really well designed, and that's why one of the reasons why I think even stuff from Wave 1 is still competitive today, because I think they took their time with it. We're getting one expansion a year right now for Armada, right? So you compare that to X-Wing where it's like 14 expansions a year, or something along those lines, and it's it's a big difference, and I understand there's a lot of pressure there. X-Wing's doing very, very well, and just It's really unfortunate to see so many inconsistencies. The other inconsistency, and the other really big one that I see mentioned most often is the quick build cards. Now this one isn't as big of a deal, but I think it's important to let you guys know. First thing, I really wish the conversion kits had quick build cards for all the other ships. Because like if you wanted to just run a K-Wing in 2.0, there's no quick build card for that. If you just wanted to run an E-Wing, or if you wanted to run Core and Horn, there's no quick build card for that either. I think that's one of the things that's going to happen in all of the re-releases of existing ships into 2.0. I think what you're going to see is you're going to see quick build cards for those, but you're also going to see new pilots and new upgrades that aren't found in the conversion kit. I know at one point there was like this, that you hadn't said that all you need is the conversion kit, you won't have to rebuy everything else. But it looks like you will have to rebuy everything else because of the look at the conversion kits right now. If you want shield tokens for your ships, you're going to have to rebuy those. If you want the new pilots that are going to come out with those, you're going to have to rebuy those. And I think this was an afterthought. That's why you have that extra little pack of, the TIE Fighter expansion has stuff that wasn't in the normal conversion kit. That's why they had to add that extra little baggie. That looks like it was an afterthought. It certainly wasn't designed from the get-go to be that way. And so I think that's, and unless they're going to sell those little baggies of, here's X-Wing 2.0 Wave 3 and Wave 4. We got the new B-Wing, the new A-Wing, and Tycho Celchu is now available, but you won't have access to him unless you buy this new pack because he's not in the conversion kit. Well, maybe they'll sell extra little side cardboard packs. I just don't know if they'll do that. I mean, granted, I'm going to want to buy at least one of every new ship anyway, just to see the new paint job, the new, to do the comparison. I will continue to do those comparisons. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. A lot of you guys found those comparisons very helpful. And it lets you know if it's worth your money. And especially for the unique pilots, for some of us, like B-Wings. I'm going to use B-Wings as an example. When B-Wings come out, I'm expecting there'll be a redesign. Either they'll rotate around the gyroscopes, or maybe the S-foils will close, maybe even both if we're lucky. But I'm really anxious to see what they do to the B-Wing. If it's good enough, I may buy multiples, right? And so if you have people doing this, you'll have those unique pilots and all those unique upgrades. Like the new, maybe Key and Farlander will show up again. Maybe we'll get Hera in a B-Wing for, who knows. But those cards, we don't need too many of the duplicates. So I think there will be some trading, some aftermarket stuff that goes into some of the new unique pilots for some of the new ships. I don't know if they will also put in new upgrades. We're going to have to get new upgrades eventually because like certain slots have very few upgrades right now, like Force ability. So I think there's 4 different options for Force upgrades. So, as you get more Force pilots, especially with the Clone Wars, that's going to be really interesting. So maybe we'll even see characters with more than one Force upgrade. I could see like Mace Windu or Yoda having 2 Force upgrades. Could you imagine that? All right, well, we're not in a speculation video right now. I'm talking about some of the inconsistencies. So the quick build cards will sometimes reference things that can't actually go on the card. Like we'll look at the Fang Fighter, for example. It doesn't have a mod slot. And that's fine, all right? I get that. It's part of the... It's a strong ship, especially if you get it into range 1. It can really, really do a lot of damage in X-Wing 2.0. So I think that's one of the reasons why they didn't give it a mod slot. Yet, on the quick build cards, you have it... There are instances where they're like, we'll put this modification on here. So before you get your X-Wing 2.0 stuff, you have to understand that quick build is like a totally different format than tournament play or league play. Any kind of official sanctioned play is totally different than quick build play. Now, granted, that being said, I assume it's fine for a store to do a quick build tournament, but building a list building is different than using quick build. And I think I don't know if these inconsistencies were intentional or if it was an afterthought. And I'm leaning, based on what we've seen, I'm leaning a little bit more towards maybe it was an afterthought. But so it's not illegal for you to run Fen Rao with mods if it's on a quick build card. If you are actually building it yourself, then that would be illegal. But running a quick build, as long as you're playing against other quick builds, is totally legal. Okay, because that's the intent of the quick build, is just to give you something different. I'm okay with that because it's in the spirit of fly casual. That's cool. Just don't run quick builds. Like quick builds are a way to just kind of get you used to like an introductory here. Like and if you haven't seen my latest battle report, we're running quick builds it's a great way to get you started into 2.0 without having to sit down and like, all right, how am I going to build this list? And especially before the app came out. The app isn't out yet, and so like I'm sitting there looking at this printout I have, trying to build a list. I'm like, let's just run quick builds. It was a lot easier. So quick builds are great for that. But yeah, they are sometimes asking for stuff that is technically illegal. In X-Wing 2.0's actual early Gen Con releases, I noticed, for example, the L337 quick build is asking for a Han Solo crew. There is no Han Solo crew. So now we've got even one step further where it's just a card that doesn't exist. I can't actually put this card on here because it doesn't exist. So we just assumed that the Han Solo crew it was asking for was actually the Han Solo gunner. So we put the Han Solo gunner on there instead. I'm assuming that that's exactly what it was looking for. But then again, for all I know, maybe there was a Han Solo crew that got thrown away, that got scrapped at the last minute. Or maybe the gunner upgrade as a whole was just crew for like a long time when the quick builds were being done, and then they said, hey, let's make them their own upgrade type later on in the development process, and it didn't get through. Who knows, right? Your guess is as good as mine, but I just want to let you guys know, like, that's how I think you should run that one. I think you don't have any other option really, is just to run that quick build with a Han Solo gunner, and and then that's fine. It's just these are little things that I'm noticing since I've got this stuff early. I'm kind of running through it, and I may run into more stuff, but just don't look at the quick builds with too much of an analytical mind. I think they're meant to be very low-level introductory. Hey, we try out this card, try out this ship. I'm really hoping in FFG, if you're watching, take a little more care with the quick builds in the future. And even if you have to slow down the production just a little bit, just to get that extra week of testing in or proofreading in, because there's a lot of misprints and a lot of mistakes that have been made so far. So slow down a little bit, take your time. Let's get back to the amazing quality that we've always expected from you guys. Because honestly, I've been an FFG customer for years and years now, and I'm used to extremely high quality stuff. And so X-Wing 2.0 is a first instance, that I've noticed a lot of mistakes, and so it's just, I'm just letting you guys know it's uncharacteristic, and I understand this is a big deal, and there's a lot of moving parts with doing a second edition of this massively successful game. So I'm willing to let it slide personally, but I also insist on holding them to the high standard that I'm accustomed to. So that's what I got to tell you guys about it. Let me know if you've seen any that I didn't talk about here. Maybe I'm forgetting something. But yes, and then also patrons, be on the lookout. Gen Con promos will be hitting Patreon pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.